do you want to start?
Prabhuji is joined.
Oh, Prabhuji is there. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Dandavat Pranam ji.
Dandavat Pranam. So we start.
Ji, Prabhuji.
Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namne. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshtarane Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Yes, so which text are we doing today?
41 and 50. 49 50.
Okay. 49 50. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Namo
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Savai Yada Mahadevo.
Savai Yada Mahadevo.
Mama Viryopa Brahmhita.
Mama Viryopa
Brahmhita.
Mene Khilam Ivatmanam.
Mene Khilam Evatmanam.
Evatmanam.
Udyatah Swarga Karmani.
Udyata Swarga Karmani.
Athame Bhito Devas.
Athame Bhito Devas.
Tapo Attapyata Darunam.
Tapo Tapyata
Darunam.
Nava Vishwa Srajo Yushman.
Nava Vishwa
Srajo Yushman.
Yena Davasrajad Vibhu.
Yena
Davasraja Vibhu.
Yes. Would someone like to read?
Go ahead, Prabhu.
Yes, please.
Hare Krishna. Translation for Professor Prasad. Translation. When the chief lord of the universe, Lord Brahma, having been inspired by my energy, was attempting to create the thought himself capable. Therefore, I gave him advice, and in accordance with my instruction, he underwent extremely difficult austerities. Because of these austerities, the great Lord Brahma was able to create 9 personalities, including you, to help him in the functions of creation. Purport by Sri Prabhupada. Nothing is possible without Hare Krishna.
Yes, please.
Nothing is possible without tapasya. Lord Brahma, however, was empowered to create this entire universe because of the austerities. The more we engage in the austerities, the more we become powerful by the grace of the Lord. Therefore, Rishabdev advised his sons, Tapo Divyam, Putraka, Yanam, Nam, Suddhesi. One should engage in penance and austerity to attain the divine position of the divinity of the devotional service. By such activities, one's heart is purified. Gita 5.5.1. In our material existence, we are impure, and therefore we cannot do anything wonderful. But if we purify our existence by tapasya, we can do wonderful things by the grace of God. Therefore, tapasya is very important as it is in this way. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Tapasya. So tapa, the word Sanskrit tapa means burning. gold is purified by burning. All the impurities are burnt out and gold becomes pure. Tapasya means, tapo divyam putraka yena sattvam shuddhayet. One should engage in penance and austerity to attain the divine position of devotional service. By such activity, one's heart is purified. See, what is tapasya? Means restraint of the senses, austerity. Austerity means controlling the senses. So try to understand it this way. By engaging in sense gratification, whether it is under rules and regulations of the Shastras or whether it is unregulated, by engaging in sense gratification, one is engaging with Maya. One is engaging, dhyato vishayana pumsha. So your sangasteshu pajayate, sangata sanjayate kama. So Sangha and Kama, they are. So, in the third chapter of Gita, Krishna is explaining that it is lust which is born out of the contact of material senses with the modes of passion, which gives rise to lust, the all devouring enemy of the soul. So, what is lust really? When senses meet with their objects. So, then mode of passion, when senses come in contact with mode of passion, then lust is generated. What does that literally mean is, as soon as the living entity perceives the material objects, he immediately forgets Krishna, and then he becomes entangled in the material nature. So restraint of the senses, on the other hand, means that one is withdrawing his senses from sense objects. By withdrawing the senses from sense objects, the memory of the material objects is erased. And by restraining the senses, when one meditates on the Supreme Lord, memory of the Lord is regenerated. That memory that is already existing, living entity is a part and parcel of Krishna. So that memory is always there. But it is regenerated. It is reinvigorated when we meditate on Krishna. So the more we meditate on sense objects, the less we can think of Krishna. The less we think of material objects, the more we can think of Krishna. So that process of restraining the senses and focusing it on Krishna is known as tapa. By tapasya, one strengthens his spiritual identity, therefore one becomes stronger and stronger. So when one becomes spiritual, then definitely one transcends the mind and intelligence. And therefore one can do wonderful things by the grace of the Lord. Please remember this. It's not by his own capacity, but by the grace of the Lord. Because one becomes completely in contact with Krishna. So naturally, Krishna's grace is manifest. Actually, Krishna's grace is manifest to every living entity. But one who is a self-realized soul, one who is a sadhu, he can see that grace in his life. Therefore, tapasya is being emphasized here. When Brahma is created, the first words he hears from the Lord is not Omkar. He hears tapa, tapa. Austerity, austerity. Hare Krishna. Yes, any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Just a question. Here he heard from Vishnu, tapa. Or otherwise written somewhere, I think Bhagavatam, that some drops were falling on the leaf and was producing the sound of tap. What is the correct position?
Can you please say again? I didn't get the question.
So you said he just now that Lord told him for tap, oxygen and all that. But somewhere I think I also read in Bhagavatam itself that the drop of the water was falling on it and it was creating the sound of tap. And that conveyed the meaning to the Brahma, that is means tapasya, that I should do austerity. Which is the correct position?
I think Bhagavatam says that the Lord from within the heart, the Paramatma said tapa tapa. And then when he performed meditation, then he could see Mahavishnu there in the universe. I mean, Garbhodakshai Vishnu.
Right.
I can check this again for you because I don't remember hearing about water falling on his head.
Not right. It was falling on some leaf or something and producing the sound of tapa. So the water falls.
I can cross-check it.
Please, whenever possible.
Yeah.
Just
Yes.
a clarification.
Yeah. I'll do that. I'll put it up on the group.
Thank you, sir.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji,
Yes.
one question. This might be a stupid question, to be honest. When Brahmaji was created by Krishna, Brahmaji would have been pure, right? So फिर austerity, controlling senses for Brahma ji, what would that mean? Like tap mean for him it would be कि ठीक है कृष्णा का नाम लो और भजन करो. Okay, fine, that makes sense. But then tap, controlling senses for him, what would that mean?
Brahmaji is under ignorance. The whole
He's
material
under.
world is covered with
Mhm.
ignorance.
Mhm.
Om Ajnana Timirandhasya. Timirandhasya, black darkness.
Mhm.
Brahmaji is also born in complete darkness. So the first layer, there are 5 layers of ahankar, 5 layers of ignorance actually, which constitute ahankar. Of this, the first layer is identification with the material body. Understanding material's contact with senses to be happiness. Forgetting the relationship with the Lord. Yeah, there are 2 more. And identifying oneself as the body. So these are like different layers of ignorance. So even the firstborn Brahma is completely ignorant of his relationship with Krishna. Actually, the living soul has no relationship with Vishnu. Vishnu is the principle of Sankarsana. That means Vishnu's existence is also temporary. Real existence, like because Karanodakshai Vishnu, actually Garbhodakshai Vishnu is emanating from Karanodakshai Vishnu. But Garbhodakshai Vishnu is himself in Yoga Nidra. That means there is no relationship with Mahavishnu or Karanodakshai Vishnu. So these relationships are ephemeral. So Karanodakshai Vishnu is also Krishna in contact with material energy. So that is not a permanent form of the Lord.
Mhm.
Narayana Murti is different from Vishnu Murti. Vishnu is in contact with material nature. So Lord Brahma has forgotten everything. That's why the Lord says tapa tapa. So the Lord is able to see Vishnu. And then still, because there is this layer of ignorance, Lord Brahma performs the function of creating the universe. Rajoguna, he becomes a Guna avatar. So he's very pure, but not completely pure. I mean, he's pure enough to be Acharya.
True. Thank you, Prabhuji.
But
Hare
Prabhuji,
Krishna ji.
the
Talk, sir.
mood of
Mhm.
Brahmaji about
Huh.
materialistic so much that he was chasing his own daughter.
Yeah.
That is,
See,
that is the worst part of material engagement.
no, that's not the point really. I mean, he's in contact with material energy.
Mhm.
Lord Shiva became lusty seeing the Vishnu, this one, Mohini Murti.
Mohini Murti, that's right.
So this is like, how do we understand this? So, a ship, when it is sailing in the water, the waves will come. It's not that the ship will remain dry, but ship will not drown. So Brahmaji does not become a fallen soul. Lord Shiva does not become fallen, but they are affected by the material nature.
Okay.
But Krishna or Vishnu, they are unaffected. They are completely, they know, they are creating this illusion. They are not affected by it at all.
Quite true. Quite true. Thank you.
Krishna. Yes. Hmm. ईशा पंचजनस्यांग
Isha Panchjnana.
पंचजनस्यांग
दुहिता वै प्रजापते
सुहिता वै प्रजापति
सीक्नी नाम पत्नीत्वे
Naam Pratnitve.
प्रजेश प्रतिगृह्यताम्.
Prajesh.
जैसा प्रचित्र है सब.
Oh my dear son Daksha, Prajapati Panchajan has a daughter named Asikni, whom I offer to you so that you may accept her as your wife. Mithuna Vyavaya Dharmastvam
Mithun
Mithun
Vyavaya.
Vyavaya
मिथुन
Dharmastva
जनायेव धर्मस्त्वं
Praja Sargam Imam Puna.
Praja
प्रजा
Sargam
सर्गम
Imam
इमं पुनः.
Punah.
Mithuna Vyavaya Dharmanyam
मिथुन
Mithun
व्यगाय
Vyavaya
धर्मण्यं
Dharmanyam
Bhurisho Bhavayishyasi.
बुरिशो
Purisho
भावयिष्यति.
Bhavya Ishyasi.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम. May I read,
Dandavat
Prabhuji?
Pranam. Yes, please.
Now unite in the sexual life as man and woman In this way, by sexual intercourse, he will be able to beget hundreds of children in the womb of this girl to increase the population. Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 7.11, Dharma viruddha bhutesu kamosmin. I am the sex that is not contrary to religious principles. Sexual intercourse ordained by the Supreme Personality of Godhead is dharma or religious principle, but it is not intended for sense enjoyment. Indulgence in sense enjoyment through sexual intercourse is not allowed by the Vedic principles. One may follow the natural tendency for sex life only to beget children. Therefore, the Lord told Daksh in this verse, this girl is offered to you only for sex life to beget children, not for any other purpose. She is very fertile, and therefore you will be able to have as many as children you can beget. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks in this connection that Daksha was given the facility for unlimited sexual intercourse. In Daksha's previous life, he was also known as Daksha. But in the course of performing sacrifice, he offered Lord Shiva, and thus his head was replaced with that of a goat. Then Daksha gave up his life because of his degraded condition, but because of his maintained the same unlimited sexual desire, he underwent austerity by which he satisfied Lord Supreme Lord, who then gave him unlimited potency for sexual intercourse. It should be noted that although such a facility for sexual intercourse is achieved by the grace of Supreme Personality of Godhead, this facility is not offered to advanced devotees who are free from material desire. Anabhilasita Sunyam. Madhya Lila 19.167. In this connection, it may be noted that if the American boys and girls engage in the Krishna consciousness movement want to be advanced in Krishna consciousness to achieve the supreme benefit of the loving service to the Lord, they should refrain from indulging in this facility for sex life. Therefore, we advise that one should at least refrain from illicit sex. Even if there are opportunity for sex life, one should voluntarily accept.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna? Santosh Prabhu, we can't hear you.
Again, finish up.
Would someone else like to continue?
Can I continue, Prabhuji? I can read.
Yes,
Limitation
please.
of having sex only for.
Oh, Prabhuji is there.
Santosh Prabhu, we can't hear you.
Breaking the connection.
Again,
On
mute.
mute now.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Yes,
Bol.
Prabhu. हाँ प्रभु
Sorry,
पहले से
sorry,
ठीक है
Prabhuji. Sorry,
क्या हो
Prabhu.
गया था आपका
Yes, Prabhuji. I will continue.
हाँ
Some
इट शुड बी
network
नोटेड से
link.
कीजिए
Yeah.
हाँ नो प्रॉब्लम यू कंटिन्यू
So, yeah. So, therefore, this facility. Therefore, we advise that one should at least refrain from practicing, even if there are opportunities. One voluntarily accept the limit of having sex for progeny. Kadrama Muni was also given the facility for sex life, but he had only a slight desire for it. Therefore, after begetting children in the womb of Devotee, Kadrama Muni became completely renounced. The purpose is that if one wants to return home back to Godhead, one should voluntarily refrain from sex life. Sex should be accepted only as much as is needed, not unlimitedly. One should not think that Daksh received the favor of Lord to receive the facility receiving the facility for unlimited sex. Later verse will reveal that Daksha again committed an offense, that this time at the lotus feet of Narada. Therefore, although sex life is the topmost enjoyment in the material world, and although one may have an opportunity for sexual enjoyment by the grace of God, this entail a risk of committing offenses. Daksha was open for such offenses, and therefore, strictly speaking, he was not actually favored by the Supreme Lord. One should not seek the favor of Supreme Lord for unlimited potency in sex life. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So, in the third chapter of Gita, Srila Prabhupada is explaining in the beginning of Karma Yoga, Prabhupada is explaining a very interesting principle. He says, so Arjuna is asking Krishna, why do you want to engage me in this warfare if you think intelligence is better than fruitive work? So Srila Prabhupada is explaining there that, so Krishna then explains the whole process of Karma Yoga. So Srila Prabhupada gives a very interesting analogy, explanation in the purport. He says that even though the Vedas allow for sense gratification in a limited way through regulated activities, still it is dangerous because any moment the mind can go crazy. So Krishna is saying dharma viruddha bhuteshu kamosmi, sex life that is not contrary to religious principles, but still it is still a contact with the rajoguna. So there is always a danger. See, it is contamination. Rajoguna, what is rajoguna and tamoguna? They are signs of ignorance. Only in Sattva-guna one can actually have the facility of understanding the Supreme, not with Rajoguna or Tamoguna. So Daksha had carried from his previous life this desire to have unlimited sex life. And therefore, even though he understood the supremacy of the Lord, he understood the need for Lord's benediction, still the desire was existing in his heart. And of course, as soon as one comes in contact with Rajoguna and Tamoguna, one's intelligence is covered. Rajoguna and Tamoguna by nature will cover the intelligence. And therefore, Daksha in his lifetimes, is neither able to understand the position of Lord Shiva, nor will he be understanding the position of Narada Muni. And he commits offenses against them. Lord Shiva married his daughter, his beloved daughter, Sati. And therefore, he felt offended. Of course, it was a great benediction to him that Shiva had accepted his daughter. But this foolish man, he thought that Shiva had degraded his position. And therefore, he became inimical to Shiva. And because of that, he suffered the loss of his reputation and even his body. Later on, when his sons became sannyasis, when they became self-realized renunciates, he again committed offense against the personality of Lord of Narada Muni. This is the result of coming in contact with Rajoguna. So even in our movement, we see so many times people criticize Srila Prabhupada, people criticize preachers, so many things happen. This is because of Rajoguna. Rajoguna covers the eyes, because it's passion. In passion, you cannot see the Supreme Lord and his methodology. So therefore, one should, as far as possible, refrain from activities in Rajoguna. So Prabhupada is warning even in the third chapter of Gita, where Krishna is actually talking about material activities only. So here, it is a very interesting point which is mentioned here is, this facility is not offered to advanced devotees who are free from material desires. Anya bhilashita shunya jnana karmadya anavrittam anukulena krishnanu shiranam bhaktir uttama. So what is anya bhilashita shunyam? Any desire which is separate from Krishna should be neglected. Anya abhilashita shunyam. So Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Jiva Goswami. Jiva Goswami's father was Anupam, who was another self-realized soul. Or we can see Raghunath Das Goswami. He's practically Raghunath Das Goswami is practically a personification of renunciation, coming from a very rich Kayastha family. Raghunath Das Goswami came from a Kayastha family, very rich businessman, and he had a beautiful wife also. But he renounced everything. He just jumped out of the window of the house and ran away. Raghunath Das Goswami. That was Raghunath Das Goswami. Anya bhilashita shunyam. So it is mentioned in the pastime of Raghunath Das Goswami, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is writing, when the Lord sees renunciation in the heart of his devotees, the Lord is very pleased. when Raghunath Das Goswami stopped taking money from his uncle and father for the feast that he was arranging for the Vaishnavas. Now, this is also another point to be noted here. Raghunath Das Goswami was not using the money for himself. He was using it only in the service of the Vaishnavas. Still, Lord Chaitanya was not very pleased. And he did not even express it. Now, this is another subtlety of bhakti, like the spiritual master never orders anyone. And Lord Chaitanya he is the supreme spiritual master. Krishna is the supreme spiritual master. The spiritual master, will never give any instruction. Do this, do that. No. Srila Prabhupada was dealing with Shudras and Malechhas. That's why he was giving instructions directly. Otherwise, spiritual master hardly gives any instructions. The spiritual master will give suggestion. Maybe you can try it this way. An intelligent disciple will understand. But a Shudra disciple will debate, why? That's the nature of a Shudra, low class. So that's why such disciples are usually to be considered rejected. Those who debate, those who are arguing with the spiritual master, they're like nonsense, they're animal kind of consciousness. So Lord Chaitanya did not say anything. He just asked one day. He said, "Oh, Raghunath would always invite Vaishnavas for feast. I have noticed that he's not inviting anyone for feast anymore." Then Govinda informed, he said, "Oh, Mahaprabhu, he has actually stopped taking money from his father." So Mahaprabhu smiled. He said, "Yes, that is good." Then he said, "Oh, what is he doing now?" "Oh, he's standing at the lion's gate, Singhadwar. He's just standing there and begging." Mahaprabhu said, "Yes, okay." Then one day he said, "Oh, Raghunath is not to be seen there. What is he doing?" He said, "Oh, he has stopped begging there." Mahaprabhu said, "Yes, that is good." So you see, Mahaprabhu didn't even give any instruction. He was just observing the behavior of Raghunath Das Goswami. So this is Anya Abhilashita Shunya, giving up all one's desires. 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is talking only about this subject matter. Only strictly following the desires of the spirit of Krishna. That is Karma Yoga, working only for the desire of Krishna. So Atmendriya Priti Vancha Dhare Tare Kahe Kam. Krishnendriya Priti Ichha Dhare Premanam. Working for Krishna's desire, that is prem, that is love. So Jnana Karmadya Anavrittam. So speculative understanding of Krishna, maybe he's like this, maybe he's like that. Karmadya. So karma, for fulfilling one's own sensual desires. Anavrittam, getting rid of them. They're like, getting rid of them. Anukulyena Krishnanu Shilanam Bhaktiruttama. Working only for the pleasure of Krishna. That is called bhakti. That is called Uttama Bhakti, first class devotional service. So like Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada was like living like a king sometimes, traveling in Rolls Royce, living in 5-star apartments, but only working for Krishna. When there was nothing available, Prabhupada was ready to sleep on a cement floor also. So Shilanam Bhakti Uttama, that is first class devotion. So first class devotion means trying to understand what Krishna desires, not putting one's own desires there. Okay, between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. is my bhakti, then 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. will be bhakti. Rest of the time is my time. No, that is not devotion. Lifetime after lifetime, it will remain like this. One should be willing to serve Krishna under any circumstance. So this was the position of Daksha. Daksha did not want Krishna. The Lord appeared in front of him and he said, "Oh, I want this unlimited capacity for sex life." And he got this birth after birth. So this is why our hearts must be purified of all desires. That's why we study the scriptures. That's why we are studying. Now, Daksha is not exactly a stellar example of a devotee, but still he's mentioned twice. We are seeing 2 of his lifetimes here. Why are we seeing this? So that we can understand what is not to be done. Pratyahar. This is pratyahar. What should be rejected? What should not be done? So one should take shelter of a spiritual master and try to understand what the spiritual master wants. Today we have everyone debating what Srila Prabhupada would have wanted. In fact, it started like this. Nowadays, Srila Prabhupada is fair game. Like anyone who wants can criticize Srila Prabhupada, and it's good to go. Okay, Prabhupada, this was Prabhupada's times. Now the times have changed. No, nothing has changed. Our brain has become dull. It's like cow dung in our brains. That's why we think like this. No, Prabhupada, one should just understand what was the spirit of Prabhupada's preaching. Prabhupada was most liberal actually. I mean, if one were to go even by traditional Gaudiya, principles, what Prabhupada accomplished could not have been done. Today, everyone is howling and screaming against Prabhupada. But if Prabhupada would have followed exactly what Gaudiya Math was doing, none of these so-called American women would have been allowed to enter the temples. They were like low-class malechhas, vyabhicharinis. They wouldn't have been even allowed to enter the temple in traditional Gaudiya setup. But Prabhupada gave them the opportunity to at least do Sankirtan, go and preach. But now today they're saying, oh, Prabhupada was a what do you call them? Like, anti-feminist or whatever, rude and crude to females and all that. So anyone who thinks like this is doomed. Doomed, like completely. Then no more. Shishnodara Parayana, Krishna nahi paye. Next birth, no Prabhupada. Next birth, they'll be born in completely atheistic families. Maybe in places like Saudi Arabia or some place. No connection with Krishna at all. They'll be born with an inborn hatred for Krishna. So this is the great danger, of taking the acharyas lightly. That's why Prabhupada was always warning. He said, no, take this process now. Take it very seriously. Try to go back to Godhead now. Because even if there's a trace of resentment for the acharya, Krishna will completely shut up. Krishna is as soft as a flower. Acharya is Krishna himself. So as soon as Krishna detects even a trace of, kind of resentment towards the acharya, Krishna completely becomes unmanifest. Then such people will take birth in hardcore Christian families, Islamic families, or Buddhist families, or someplace, but not in contact with Krishna consciousness anymore. It will be hundreds and thousands of births before one will again come in contact with Krishna consciousness. So it's very dangerous. So this Nehavikramo Nashosti verse has a rider there, that one should not commit offenses against the Acharya himself or the Vaishnavas. Offenses will destroy. Hathi mata aparad. They are like elephant, they will destroy everything. And we see here in case of Prajapati Daksha, that because of his committing offenses against the great devotees, he doesn't have even a trace of devotion in his heart. It's just his material desire. So yes, he is devoted to the Lord in that sense that he is praying to him and he pleases the Lord by his prayers. But that's a transactional relationship. That is not classified as pure devotional service. See, one should not think of that Daksha received the favor of the Lord by receiving the facilities for unlimited sex life. Material life means sex life. Everything. Riding motorcycles or art, painting, making paintings, writing poetry, because we are enjoying Prakriti. So enjoyment of Prakriti means not enjoying Bhakti. So any such facility given by the Lord is actually detrimental. Is actually very detrimental. Excessive material wealth, excessive material intelligence, any material opulence which is in excessive quantities, which distracts one from Krishna, is not a benediction actually. So one should be very, very careful. When one rejects everything, anya bhilashita shunyam. The word is very specific here. Shunya, one rejects everything. So when one jnana karmadya anavritam, anavrita, avarana means covering. So when one is completely freed from the covering of jnana and karma, all kinds of material speculative knowledge or material sense gratificatory desires, when one becomes free from them and works only for the pleasure of Krishna, so then one can attain pure devotional service. So this is always a great danger. So if there is some material benediction coming with bhakti, one should reject it. So if Krishna is giving some material opulence, one should be careful not to accept it. One can accept it for the service to Krishna, but not otherwise. Hare Krishna. Yes, any questions or comments?
Prabhuji,
Yes.
Prajapati Daksha, he offended Narad Muni because Narad Muni asked his sons not to take to sannyas. Is that or somebody else can the other thing happened?
You mean his sons?
I think Narad Muni asked his sons not to remain rasta than take sannyas.
Yeah.
That offended.
Yes.
That offended Daksha.
That offended Daksha.
That's it. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. One more thing. So when you mentioned that we should get to the first class devotee level, so we should understand what Krishna wants. In Daksha's case, he saw Krishna, yet the attitude or consciousness did not got purified, or the desire was still there. In Arjuna's case too, he was with Krishna. So he did a good thing, that he surrendered to Krishna, realizing that he's not able to solve whatever is coming his way on his own. So for us, when you said, material benediction will fall your way, but you should not accept or accept for service. Practically, uh, if we look at material benediction, left, right, and center, we are full of all that. तो फिर हमारे केस में how should we get to that level कि हम understand करने लग जाएं eventually what Krishna or the Acharya wants. Like अभी तो हमें बुक्स पढ़ के अंडरस्टैंडिंग है कि ठीक है preaching करो, reading करो और chanting करो और try to help devotees. पर जरूरी नहीं कि उनको whatever we are doing might be acceptable the way we are doing. नहीं हो सकता है मैं कुछ कर रही हूँ पर हो सकता है वो आपको acceptable ना हो. मतलब कि जरूरी नहीं whatever I'm doing might be acceptable to Krishna. तो फिर how do you know what we are doing is getting accepted or is what he wants?
That's a good question. See, what does Krishna want? I mean, we don't know what Krishna wants, but it's written there. Prabhupada has given it all. Chant your 16 rounds, read the Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, and preach. Sankirtan. So do that. If you get more and more facility for Sankirtan, then you should understand that Krishna is accepting your service. If you feel, if you feel your chanting improving, if you feel that you are able to do service more and more, then you should understand Krishna is pleased, that he's giving you more service. On the other hand, if you feel your material pride is increasing, material wealth is increasing, chanting is okay, whatever, then Krishna is not pleased. So Krishna speaks through Acharya. Acharya Mam Vijaniyam. One should understand Acharya to be the same as Krishna. So what pleases Srila Prabhupada will please Acharya, will please Krishna.
Yes.
It's very simple. But one should not concoct one's own devotional service. Okay, now I'll do 4 hours of deity worship, bringing big bells and conch shells and this and that. No, that is not Mahaprabhu's mood. Yes, big temples Prabhupada established. The Goswamis established big temples for attracting new people. This is not the age for temple worship. Who has that consciousness? So the real dharma for this age is Sankirtan. So if you are getting facility for Sankirtan, if you are facing opposition and yet you are enjoying that challenge, yes, Krishna is pleased with you. If you're feeling morose in devotional service, if you don't like devotees, if you don't like reading Prabhupada's books, then yes, then you should think that there is some offense.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, this is one of the very good purports, very revealing purports Prabhupada's there. And accidentally I read it ahead and I shared with you. But yeah, the bottom line is very important. Many times I remember the conversations with some devotee. I was saying like, even whatever Krishna conscious activity may be doing, that activity also may be influenced under the 3 modes. Like for example, the topmost devotional service that we can do is heartful japa. Okay, like we can do the best devotional practice that we can do is japa. But that japa also, although it is a pure devotional process, but that also can be influenced in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Like we may feel sleepy, or we may not do it in correct posture, or we may be distracted, or we will try to do it very vigorously, doing a lot of body language and all the stuff. That is like we are doing it in a mood of passion only. So everything that we do, even in Krishna consciousness, also are guided in these 3 modes. So as long as we are in those lower modes, we are always at risk. That's what is the bottom line we are able to understand in the purport. Same case with Daksha. He definitely pleased Lord Vishnu. And after pleasing Lord Vishnu, he could have asked for a pure devotional service. But then his desire of his own sense enjoyment came in between. So it was like he was in the lower modes still. Although he did very very nice devotional service he did, but still, because of its modes, he somehow went back to his original, what you can say, consciousness, and in that mood, he offends a devotee. So it's a very nice, you can say, a disclaimer or warning that devotees become very callous. We devotees, when we think like, okay, we are chanting 16 rounds, we are reading daily Bhagavatam, and we are doing our little bit of deity service, think that we are doing very nicely. We are forgetting that we are doing all this, doing this type of jobs, very nasty type of jobs where we had to be passion and everything. And this is definitely, if we are not alert, then that is the moment when we are not alert, it will cause our fall down. We have to feel so helpless and grateful that we are able to do that devotional service also. Even, of course, we may be chanting 16 rounds or we may be reading also, but that is also pure mercy of Prabhupada and devotees and Krishna that we are able to do that. Even the devotional service also, we may be seen to be executing it, but that is also because of mercy. If immediately as we start feeling that pride in it, then it is like same like how Daksha succumbed to his lower modes. Same happens with us, and that is the reason why. That is why we keep on occasionally falling down in our standards, and again we need to come back again. And
Utsaha Nishchayat Dhairya. You know, Rupa Goswami saying Utsaha Nishchayat Dhairya Tat Karma Pravartanat.
Correct, bro. Yeah.
So Utsaha Dhairya Nishchay. So Utsaha, enthusiasm, determination and patience. Tat Karma Pravartanat Sangha Tyaga Sato Vritte. Two things every devotee neglects. Sangha Tyaga and Sato Vritte. Devotees maintain all kinds of mundane association. My wife, my husband, my child, my father-in-law, mother-in-law. I'm not saying you become antisocial, but you emotionally detach yourself. Understand that this is mundane. Oh, I love my child, I love my mother, I love my father. Well, that's nice. I love my wife. You know, we know one devotee, his wife is like a complete mundane nonsense, but devotee wants to hang on to her. Let it be. I mean, you have to take care, do your duty, but don't be completely hung up. She's not some acharya that she takes precedence over Srila Prabhupada. Or your husband is not if he's mundane, he's not an acharya. Do your duty, make some rotis and give it to him, then forget it. That's it. You have so many husbands in so many lifetimes. So one should take care of Krishna first. After coming into spiritual life, athato brahma jigyasa, not athato pati jigyasa, patni jigyasa. No, Brahma, try to understand. Do your duty and move on. But people don't want to sangha tyaga. No one wants to give up asat sangha. People think asat sangha means, I will not associate with Shah Rukh Khan. Well, that's ridiculous. I don't associate with my boss. Well, no one associates with one's boss. The real asatsang is in our homes. Mother, father, husband, wife, child, all this is asatsang. Even with devotees, one may think, oh, my wife is a nice devotee, I am maintaining good sangha. No, if you think she's your wife and you are maintaining sangha, that is asatsang. If you think, oh, she's a Vaishnavi, we are discussing Krishna, and you maintain that sangha, then that is satsang. Otherwise, it is asatsang only. So, sangha tyaga sato vritte. Maintain satsanga, not mundane sangha. Okay, devotees getting together and talking about economics, politics, Modi, Gandhi. No, nonsense. Talk Krishna. Only talk about Krishna, Krishna Katha. So, sangha tyaga sato vritte shadbhe bhakti prasidati. These are the items which make our successful our bhakti. So, Rupa Goswami is like, it's such a small book, just 10, 11 verses. At least 3 or 4 verses, if one can follow, one will advance very quickly in bhakti. So one has to follow these guidelines. These acharyas are not just kind of sitting there to glorify themselves. They are giving very practical advice. So one example is Kardam Muni. Even he had desires. And he was very ashamed of it. There this Prajapati Daksha is like shameless. Yes, give me the desire. Thank you. No, Kardam Muni was very ashamed. He said, my dear Lord, I still have this trace desire. The Lord understands. He says, yes, I understand. So you enjoy yourself and afterwards you come to me. And then the Lord appears as his son also, just to show him that, yes, he has accepted his worship. So yes, so that should be the mood. So Kardam Muni is contrasted here with Prajapati Daksha. Two men, same kind of desire. But one is completely nonsensical, the other one is a pure devotee. So that's why the contrast is explained, that even with material desires, one can advance in bhakti. But the mood should be like Kardam Muni. One should feel ashamed that, I have such degraded desires.
मतलब at the end, all that matters is your attitude.
Yes. But that will come through sadhu
Yeah.
sangha.
Actually, the mood itself was quite different. Even though Kardam Muni had a desire, but it was not his topmost priority. He felt that he had this weakness. He confessed that it was his weakness. And Lord was very happy with his frankness that this weakness is there, and he fulfills his desire. And immediately after that desire is fulfilled, he immediately feels ashamed, and again his higher modes are activated, and he immediately takes renunciation. Whereas here we see like when we cannot just criticize Daksha, because most of us we follow in this case only that first he offends Lord Shiva, who is none other than a representative of Lord Vishnu. Then he leaves a body. Then again he takes up a body and he does tapasya, which Lord Vishnu wants that each living entity should do tapasya, undergoing tapasya only for pleasing Lord Vishnu. That also he does. But then, but his topmost priority is his own indulgences. So there is the problem. So it's a lesson for or a disclaimer for each one of us that if our topmost priority is not pleasing Krishna but our own senses, then even though we may please the Lord, but we will land up again in problem only.
Prabhuji, this is a very good question though कि topmost priority हमारी होती है या fix करना mood या attitude अपना सही करना, right? In Kardam Muni case, we can understand he was a scholar in the sense that he had the spiritual knowledge. In Daksha, Aryan, does he has that spiritual knowledge, or agar if he does, then how come, like we say, right, knowledge is required in order for us to understand कि क्या करना और क्यों करना, so we can get attached to doing it the right way. So if he had the spiritual knowledge, how come he still was not attached in the right way?
He had Vedic knowledge, karma kanda.
Mm.
That's why Krishna is warning Arjun. Traigunya Vishaya Veda, Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna. Krishna is not saying Nirveda Bhavarjuna. He's saying Nistraigunya. So Vedas themselves are not a problem. The problem is the three gunas inside the living entity. And the knowledge of these three gunas within the Vedas can easily entice one in the wrong direction. जैसा अन्न वैसा मन, मतलब जो दिखेगा वही चिपक जाएगा आदमी. So whatever, so see, Vedas are a supermarket of religion. Whatever is one's contamination, one will find something to justify that. That's why Krishna is telling Arjun to become free from the three modes, so that you can actually see the light of Vedas. Vedaischa sarver aham eva vedya. You try to understand that I am to be known from Vedas, not this and that, family life or elevation to heavenly planets or purification of consciousness. No, everything is fine, but I am to be known from Vedas. Cut everything aside, try to find me in the Vedas. So all these processes are described there. But because of contamination, Daksha took everything as a sign for sense enjoyment. So this, like, he pleased the Lord, but eventually he fell prey to his own lust. But Kardam Muni also understood that this lust is existing within the heart. I mean, we are saying dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamosmi. No, but still it is lust because it is not directly pleasing Krishna. It's an indirect service to Krishna. Prajapati's Kardam Muni's daughters, they were just married to some rishis. That's not really a great service to Krishna. But he was really pleased by his service, and he appeared himself as Kapila Dev to deliver his beloved wife also.
Actually, this is a great lesson to Grastas also. Many times we Grastas think that we are leading a Krishna conscious center life, and we think that living this life, which is on the basis of sexual bondage only, but still we are doing a great thing. We are doing services, and we are doing so and so. Karke we are, we think we are doing quite well. But then Prabhupada is giving a warning over here that as long as you are acting in these modes, in the lower modes, anytime you can fall down greatly. So a grasta is always in a danger, always, because he has to so much he has to be in contact with these lower modes.
Yeah, of course. Grihastha is living in the lap of danger.
Grihastha is glorified that we are the only ashram that we are able to serve the other three ashramas, but actually we are like very much contaminated. We are in a very contaminated environment. And this Daksha's incident is actually a great what is it's a danger signal for us. We have to always remember the dangers of being in a Grihastha life. And anybody is overconfident now, then definitely is doomed. That is also there. If somebody says no, like this argument, no, then that overconfidence is sufficient for him to put it in the doom.
That is true. So it's true, Prabhu. Great danger of material living.
One practical question is there, probably. It's like understanding, having our rationality and working from the comfort zone. Just a practical question, if you can clarify, relevant to devotional service only. Like, for example, yes, each one of us have an altar at home, and at the same time, we understand that we should try our very best to do our morning program, that is wake up early, do a simple Mangalarti, and do our japa. Now my question is, Prabhu, if there is a center or a temple near us, so what is more recommended? Like you continue to do it from your home, or one should at least try to once a while go to the nearest center and temple and do Mangalarti over there. Like what is recommended, or is Prabhupada told anything on this before?
Okay. Well, this kind of situation did not exist in Srila Prabhupada's time. But let's just see what happened during Prabhupada's times. So Srila Prabhupada wanted everyone to live in a center. Like Prabhupada literally wanted everyone to live in a center. There was a building in New York which devotees had bought. There are still some photographs. Now it has been sold away. Now we are a rich organization. We don't need centers or temples. There was a big building. Hundreds of devotees used to live together in one building, and that was the center also. So Grihasthas, Sannyasis, Brahmacharis all living together only for Krishna. That was Prabhupada's idea. Now coming back to more practical level that we are living in our condition, if we are living close to a center, we should maintain a small altar at home because we need to offer bhoga and prasad. We need to offer bhoga to the Lord, so that should be at home. One should maintain simple standards of worship. One should not spend too much time in deity worship. Simple standards of worship. One should try to read and preach more. Chanting and reading should be greater emphasis. If there is if the center is very close by, like 5 minutes walking, 2 minutes walking, then you should go there and do your Mangalarti. Like for example, you saw Mayapur. So in Mayapur, every house is very close to temple. So everyone goes for Mangalarti to the temple or Samadhi. So that is one standard. Then one should go there. Otherwise, one should do Mangalarti at one's own place. One should not waste too much time. One should not take a train in the morning at 5 o'clock, then travel 1 hour and then go for Mangalarti. That's not going to work in the long run. Things should be done in a practical manner.
But I heard that Prabhupada saying that once in a while, at least once in a week, like Sundays, devotees should come and pray, because Sunday used to be the time when devotees used to gather together. So at least once a week, devotees should come and attend Mangalarti in the temple. Something of that kind I heard.
I mean, that's the whole point. Like,
especially if it is a holiday. Especially if it is a holiday, and we have a privilege of a holiday, and we still insist on doing Mangalarti at home. This clearly is a sign of working from the comfort zone. It is not about devotion, but it's just comfort zone. I have my own time. I have to save my time. Everything is me and mine only. So
Yeah.
this
One
type
should
of-
go, then one should go for Mangal Aarti, because that's the whole idea of satsang, meeting up with the other devotees.
Yeah. So I requested devotees, whoever is there near that, let's try to meet during Mangalarti, and together we can participate in Mangalarti and do japa also. Afterwards, there is no bounds. Okay, people can leave at any time. People can wait till Shingarati and Guru Puja also. That is all depends on your time. But once a week at least, or once in a fortnight at least, they should come together and do it. But many times I see that devotees take an excuse. Because this type of devotional service under a comfort zone is again a problem only. Later on,
Yes.
the devotee will never, giving habituated in comfort zone, he will never try to preach also. He will never try to raise the standards also. He will be very satisfied, he or she will be very satisfied in their present devotional standards. So
Yeah.
this is the threat actually. Especially when devotees are still younger or in the middle age, and if it is possible once in a week at least to come. And I'm not telling about, ideally they should able to be there up to Bhagavatam also, but then at least minimum Mangalarti and Japa, at least they are there. So they have quite a significant part of the morning program they have attended.
Yes,
And
that's
then,
that's the whole point, Sankirtan. And devotees should be actually, there's no reason why devotees should not be meeting with each other. So devotees should meet together and make plans for book distribution, Sankirtan, these kind of activities. So not just perfunctory, okay, every week we have a meeting. Okay, we go there, I eat something, I don't know what I do, and I come back. No, it should be active. Sangha should be active. How do we spread this mission?
technology and privileges should not be taken as a excuse for our comfort zone living. If anybody is doing that,
No.
then we need not point out, but then devotee himself should identify where he stands or where a person stands.
Absolutely.
So definitely will not be pleased with this type of dual standards.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Prabhu, for the clarity.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna. So we stop here today. Tomorrow we finish this chapter. We start with the next one. Okay. So next chapter is a very important chapter. Prayers of the Haryashvas and Savalashvas. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you,
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu. Thank you all the
Thank you so much,
devotees.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Dandavat
Krishna
Pranam.
Prabhuji,
Thank you.
Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat
Hare
pranam.
Krishna. Dandavat Pranam. Thank you.